Welcome to Catalyze, the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
Lights, camera, and action. 3 words that are said multiple times throughout the scenes, behind the scenes, in almost every major movie production. We all know what it means when we hear it, but very rarely do we actually hear the words. But look at what it produces. I have a challenging question that I pose to whoever decides to answer to themselves today. When you think of the word action, what comes to mind? This is a good point. The reason why is because action has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people for a lot of different things. That being said, the actual definition of action is the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim, right? The act of doing. See, the one thing that catalyzes everything is action. We love action. We are people and beings of action, whether we watch it on television, in the movie theater, or whether we watch it in sporting events, whether we sit and we watch what's happening in our own neighborhood down the street, whether we're viewing and rooting for our sports teams, as I had mentioned earlier, right? We are lovers of action. We love action. However, very rarely do we actively participate in taking action for ourselves. Why is that? Why is it that we can root for others and support others and cheer on our teams and go to our local communities and support our children and do all this fun stuff and support our friends and be inspired by the action that we see around us, but very rarely take responsibility for our own? It's simple. Sometimes we don't know how. You ever have that idea, that dream, that massive thing on your heart that you just want to do and you don't know where to start? You ever have personal problems, professional problems, don't necessarily know where to go or how to get started? We don't. Action needs to take place. We can think about things all we want. We can do things all we want to a degree, but until we actually put a framework and things in process for this, nothing ever gets accomplished. So everybody loves action, but they don't know how to take care of their own. So one of the things that I was inspired to do is create 6 steps on how to take action. And ironically enough, it represents each letter of the word. And if you apply this framework, you will be able to move the needle in your life, in your business, in your emotional state, anywhere that you need to bring the focus to something or to do something, to inspire the thought, to transition it into change. It's action. Here we go. And here's why. Number 1, before we can do anything in order to change, we need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge that something is there, whether it's positive, negative, or indifferent. Whether we've kept it on the shelf, we've been running it on autopilot, we've been wanting to do the things that we've been wanting to do. We have to have acknowledgement that's there. Sometimes it's acknowledging that we have a vision. It's acknowledging that we have, something bigger than ourselves. Acknowledging that we can see ourselves doing something. Acknowledging the fact that there is a thought in our head that just doesn't go away. We need to acknowledge the fact that there are things that in our mind that either need to be improved or dismissed. If we don't bring attention to it, we'll never do anything about it. So acknowledgement is the first step in taking action for yourself. Let's talk about the second step, challenging those acknowledgements. Sometimes we have a habit of acknowledging things that aren't true. Sometimes we have a habit of acknowledging things that aren't necessarily real. Sometimes whatever our mind can conceive, it makes it so that it is real, and we accept it at that, and we never move anything forward from that. So challenging yourself, challenging your thoughts, challenging the things that allow you to stay in the same place, challenging those things gets you out of your comfort zone, and it gets you into a different frame of mind. Because when you can challenge the validity of what is, then you can do the next step, which is transform it. Transformation is one of my favorite words because it's a process. It's an act of doing. It's something that is committal. It is an actionable word. Transformation requires work. It's one of my favorite words. That's why I use it so much. So if you acknowledge something and you can challenge it, then you can start putting things in place to transform it, whether it's your personal experience, whether it's the ideas that are new or old that you might be able to bring to the table that will help improve the situations or state of the things that you're in and why you're in them. And then you'd be able to transform them and start replacing the unproductive things that are in that particular space in order to build yourself up for new ones. So then when you're in the transforming phase, the creativity starts to ignite. The possibility phase, as I like to call it, begins. The reason why it is because if you can't get past the first two steps, the third step never happens. You cannot transform something if you don't believe or acknowledge that you can and then challenge the fact that it can get better or worse. Most of us get stuck in these three steps. Most of us can't get past one. How many people do you know out there that don't acknowledge the fact that they're facing issues? How many people do you see out there that are not challenging where they are and they accept it as okay, as the status quo, and just stays on the plateau and never does anything positive or negative against the theory? They just sit on autopilot and then they forget that that standard can be raised. When you transform something that brings the idea of this is the new standard, I'm moving towards the better result, I am building the next level or next phase of my business, or I'm going through this emotional challenge and I know that I need to look at it differently, but not necessarily sure how. This is where the magic happens. This is where the creative process comes in. And what's great is once you get these ideas and you brainstorm and things come in and they're coming up, you start to feel better. You start to feel as if you can do things because you're breaking the barriers of all those old systems, those old thought processes, those old beliefs, things that no longer serve you. And here's the next part that is absolutely amazing that I love that literally not a lot of people do. And you know what that is? Implement. Implement the things that you are thinking about. Implement the transformation process. Implement the things that are allowing you to think about what's on the next level, what the new business idea is, where the new career move might be, whether or not you want to date somebody else new, whether or not you want to improve yourself. All of the things come into the implementation process. Because when you can implement, then you're trial and error, what's working, what's not working. You're building knowledge, you're gaining experience. And the most beautiful part about it is you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is one of the most dangerous things that you can stay in. Why? Because that is the thing that protects you or supposedly protects you and allows you to think that you're safe and you're fine just where you're at. Now, I want to clarify. If you are in a position where you believe that you are happy and you are content and you are making the impact you want to make and you are doing the things that you want to do and you're enjoying your life on the day-to-day and it is literally where you want to be, then 100% congratulations. Most of us, however, are not. Most of us are on autopilot and don't realize that there are so many other things that we could be doing or want to be doing. So we have to have that implementation. We have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to move thoughts and feelings around, even if it's uncomfortable, for us to be able to take those steps and to walk into the framework and be able to do the framework that we need to hit the next level or next expectation of ourselves. After we implement and we have strategies in place and we've acknowledged it and we challenged it and we're in the transformation process, guess what's next? Guess what's next? We operate. You got to actually put work to process. Okay, nothing happens. As we said, if there was no action in lights, camera, action for the movie reference, nothing would get produced. Nothing would be done. If nobody had decided to take the step to do the things that you do, you wouldn't do them. You wouldn't be doing them. Everything that we've done in our life started out as a new thing at some point. Everything. We can go back as learning how to walk, talk, eat, speak. All of it was brand new to us. Every experience that we had in our previous, time has always been brand new. Problem is, we got comfortable with it. We got comfortable with it. My son did not know how to walk 2.5 years ago. Now he knows how to walk, but he's more mindful about it. Whereas I am subconscious about it. I don't have to think to walk. I don't have to put my foot or look at my feet, so to speak, down here to get to the next step. I know where my feet are going to go. I know what they're going to do, and it's subconscious. I don't have to think about it. But here's the thing. What happens if you develop a pattern that's wrong and you don't think about it? Or what happens if you learn something that might not be 100% effective to you? Guess what? That framework, that subconscious model is still here in your mind. That is still a part of your routine. That is still a part of the subconscious area that just operates and operates and operates and operates. And without acknowledgement, you could bypass it. You could miss it. Sometimes it takes people days, weeks, months, years. Sometimes they live their whole life on autopilot, never acknowledging the fact that they could have done something different. You must be able to operate. And you must be able to operate with consistency, because this is where the true battle is when it comes to transformation and change for personal growth. Owning your growth takes control. It takes courage. It takes discipline. It takes, believe it or not, motivation, and it takes support. We cheer everyone else on. Why not start with cheering yourself? Why not start with rooting for yourself? Why not start realizing that your potential and your value is so much more than you expect it to be? Because when you operate on that level, you operate differently. You're going to see what's working. And as you operate and as you go through the framework, you're going to be able to make decisions based on your values, your beliefs, your goals, your skill sets, your strengths, and your weaknesses. And as you live in this world of operation, it is the mix of the previous steps that we had just discussed. So you have thought matched with action, matched with movement. And the final step in this is navigating. Navigation is important. See, before the before the world of cell phones, you actually had to print out directions. Before the world of printing out directions, you actually had to write things down, turn by turn. In today's society, we can walk in our car, push a button, and it gives us the directions on how to go where we need to go, and we don't think twice about it. We operate our lives in a very similar manner. We operate that way. We just go. We don't think about what we do. We just do. Majority of us do. A majority of us in this space, when we get comfortable in this, it stays that way. See, when you navigate through the action process and the framework, you get to see what happens. You get to sit and you get to see the setbacks. You see the wins. You see the losses. You see where it could have taken you a little bit less time. You see where it could have taken you a little bit more time. It forces you to bring yourself into the present moment, which is now, which is today, not tomorrow, not next week. I guarantee you, some of us, as we sit here, will be thinking about things that we should be doing in a couple hours from now, in a couple of days from now, not fully present to this moment, not navigating through the things that we might or may not be missing. And the cool thing is, as we piece each step together, as we acknowledge, as we challenge, as we transform, as we implement, as we operate, and as we navigate, all of those steps, and we hit to the navigational part of the step, this is where we circle right back and we acknowledge the things that we have just done. Did they work for me? Did they not work for me? Was it beneficial? Was it value added? And you can apply this framework to life, to business, to anything. I met this person. I'm going into a new partnership. This person I'm going to acknowledge. Okay, cool. Like, is this person value added to me? Is this person resonate with me? Okay, that's cool. Now, are they resonating with me because I like them, or are they resonating with me because they fit the mold of the pattern and the path that I want to go? Right? Okay, guess what? If we're not dialed in with that, that person doesn't meet those two standards, we automatically look for more people. Who you surround yourself with, who supports you, who sends you onto your next way, the people that you rely on and you relate to, those people matter when it comes to taking action. Because you can take action around 100 people who are massively negative, and you will not do a thing because they're going to win out. See, the whole action process, taking action means you're doing, means you're fully committed, means you're moving to another level, means you're inspiring not only yourself to get out of your comfort zone, but guess what? As we related earlier, people love action. If you work on yourself, people will start to root for you. The right people will come into play, the people who deserve your time, your effort, and your energy. The analogy that has been going around these days is you get to pick the people that get on your bus. Choose wisely. Allow them to reveal themselves to you. Allow them to see if they line up with the direction that you're going. And if they're not going the way you want to go, don't ask them for directions. You don't need to. You have everything that you could ever possibly want built right in here within you, and everything you could possibly ever learn from by using this. And the minute that this is closed off, everything else will fail. That's why action is so important. It keeps you humble. You celebrate your wins as much as you recognize your setbacks. This process is repeatable. This process is easy. And why is it 6 steps? Why can't it be 3? Let's explain something about action. Action creates movement. Bottom line. There is a reason that causes you to do something. That cause, that thing, catalyzes you to take action. That action creates movement. That movement creates momentum. Momentum is a driving force. When you have more positive momentum going for you, you don't want to slow down. You want to continue to hit the next challenge, to meet the next level, to do that workout, to read that book, to write that book, to make that speech. And if you have multiple steps that line you up to make the next step easier, it just makes sense to continuously do it. And here's the coolest thing about any challenge that you could ever run into when you're running into your various day-to-day, when you're doing the things that you are inspired to do, when you're out of your comfort zone and you're not sure of what you need to do or how you need to do it. If you think about action, it all makes sense. Because if you can acknowledge what's going on, you can challenge it. And if you can challenge it, you can transform it. If you can transform it, you can implement it. If you implement it, you can operate from it. And if you operate from it, then you can navigate it. And if you navigate it, you circle right back to acknowledging what's beneficial and what's not beneficial for you. Now, if you take that framework and place it into anything, it puts you on the path of immediate clarity, immediate sense of direction, immediate gratification, because sometimes we need that. We need to know that we can handle the things that we want to do. We need to know that we can process the things that we need to process. We need to know that we can sit and go, okay, this is my next step. 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 And as those steps go, as one step at a time, you'll look back and you'll be amazed at how far you get on the journey. The whole reason for action and the framework behind action is if I sat and told you a story about how something in my life was implicated and the things I've done, I'm only doing it one way. What works for me might not work for you. But what I can tell you is the analogies and the acronyms that are put into these words and the steps that follow those words, that will work for anyone if they're willing to take on the challenge to own what they want to own and do what they want to do. It is okay to be afraid. It is okay to have feelings. It's okay to be nervous and have reservations. It's okay to be a little bit stammery or stutter or any of these things that you see all of us doing in our day-to-day. And the reason why is because if we were 100% confident about everything, we would never do anything. Because we're 100% confident where we're 100% comfortable. And I do not want to live in a world where I am 100% comfortable. I want to continue to take action, to inspire other people to take action so that it creates a ripple effect that allows other people to be inspired to take control of the things that they don't think they can control, and they continuously move forward in the things that they know that they can do. It is 100% okay to not know it all. It is 100% okay to not be okay with the things that you're doing. What's not okay is if you stay there. What's not okay is if you truly accept the resignation of your efforts and just coast. A great mentor of mine once told me that there are people who are waiting for you because you can communicate the only way that you can. There's only one person on this earth that is like you, and that is you. And when you're someone else, your validity, your authenticity, your transparency, and your uniqueness all dissipates. There are too many people out in the world today that aren't taking action to be themselves. So challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to take action, to stay in line with your values, with your goals. Keep up with your mindset. Keep up with your energy and your effort. Take the pulse on you, because as you learn, as you grow, as you develop, as you inspire, as you hit your levels, as you celebrate your wins, you're automatically filling up your cup, and it runs over, and it's going to automatically help everybody else. When you work on you and you take your framework and you level it up and you build it up, someone else automatically benefits. A rising tide raises all ships, but the tide doesn't rise if you don't put the work in to do it. The boat doesn't move if you don't operate it. Action is so important today. Action is so important in everything that we do, because action is the one thing that leads to everything. And action has to be done. It's not well thought. It's not well said. It's well done. The reason why it's action is because it doesn't sit in a place that doesn't go unnoticed. Can you imagine if your sports team won the Super Bowl and nobody heard about it? Can you imagine celebrating a victory and nobody understood the severity or the importance of it? No. There is a reason why we need to take action, why we need to inspire others. Because when we take action and take the ownership that we have for ourselves, everything else kind of falls into place. Everything else does fall into place. And what you can do for yourself, you'd be amazed. You will inspire others to do things that they never thought they could dream of, because you got out of your comfort zone, took action, and did things that you never thought you could dream of. Action empowers you. It empowers you to enhance personal growth. It empowers you to take ownership. It empowers you to transform yourself by being creative, proactive, adaptive, building a thick skin and resilient mindset. And it ultimately drives your old habits that don't serve you, and it instills new ones to bring innovation to your life, to your business. And as the ripple effect and catalyst, it allows you to inspire others. Think about the things that you need to take action for, and take action. Don't think, just do. That being said, everyone, one and all, enjoy yourself, take action, be uncomfortable, and I can't wait to see what your next level looks like.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session of Catalyze. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.